Here we go. Good morning, ladies. Good morning, lady bosses. How are you today? Okay, I'll wait a minute. Got a few people who I know are waiting to jump on, so I will wait until a couple of you get here. Then we'll start. Again, you get tired of hearing this, but another gorgeous day here. Oh my gosh. So far I hear a lot of conflicting opinions, but I think this is like one of the most gorgeous falls we've had as far as the weather. I mean, leaves are kind of just starting to change, but man, this weather has been beautiful, beautiful. Okay, a couple of you are here. Let's see. Get rid of that one little thing in my way. Oh, now two little things in my way. Come on. Okay, not going away. All right, two of you are here. Happy you're here. And that's enough to get started. Let's get started. Anybody else can look at the repeat, right? Anyway, today we're talking about criticizing others for things that you don't like about yourself. And this is a very tricky topic. Good morning, Jane. It's a very tricky topic because it's one that I honestly don't think most of us are aware of. I really don't. I mean, it's, if we were aware of it, that would be so blatantly hypocritical. Like, why would I criticize you for something that was like my biggest shortfall? We just wouldn't do it. So the fact that this happens, and it happens a lot, I think we're just not even aware. I mean, think of some different situations. I mean, maybe you really criticize somebody because they're a big gossip, and you don't realize that, my gosh, you gossip all the time. Or, right now in today's times, oh my gosh, we criticize people for not being kind, and yet we'll go on Facebook and make a very innocent statement about, how we should be more kind and Trump's being so mean or this or that. But we make an innocent seeming statement. But if you do that and you think you're, really fostering peace, just go back and look at your comments, because you can't talk about politics. You can't talk about COVID, no matter how innocent the statement, without riling people up. So, start looking at your comments and look at the fights that start afterwards because you just mentioned COVID or you just mentioned politics. We know by now, no matter what the issue is, we're not going to change anybody's mind. So if you just need to vent and talk about it, talk to somebody else, but you're stirring the shit by doing it on Facebook, even if you're doing it, like I said, innocently. So again, you're criticizing people for not being kind, but are you being kind if you're starting a bad conversation, if you're the author of a really bad thing? So, that's another thing to think about. So yeah, we're talking about hypocrisy, obviously, but this isn't blatant hypocrisy, like, do as I say, not as I do kind of thing. This is more subtle. This is, we're being hypocrites, but we don't even know it. Okay. That's the big difference with this. Hey, Judy, glad you found your way in. Nice to see you. So the deal is, when it comes to our critical nature, we're really intolerant of certain behaviors in people because, like, we're sad by the things they do or they say, or, we get angry at the things they do and say. But we don't even realize they're the areas where maybe we need the most work too, where we have the same problems we're projecting onto other people. And listen, you might be listening to this and saying, oh no, that's not me. I don't do that at all. I know I'm very self-aware. Well, I'm here to tell you that guaranteed this affects everyone. Morning, Mom. This affects everyone in the world. It might only affect you a little because maybe you are very self-aware and you know many of your shortcomings, but I guarantee you're not aware of them all. And maybe you are really, oh my gosh, maybe this is a big deal. Maybe almost everything that comes out of your mouth is something that, every criticism is a criticism of something that's one of your big pitfalls, but you just don't see it because, like I said, if you saw it, you wouldn't do it because you'd be such an obvious hypocrite. So whether it's a little or a lot, I guarantee it affects all of you. It's not just, a few people. So it's not like it doesn't apply. So if you think it doesn't apply, hang with me, because when we get to the end, maybe I can teach you how to start to look at things a little more deeply and uncover some of the stuff that you're not aware of. And the challenge is to really, really have an open enough mind to be brave enough to look in the mirror and see who you really are, because that's what we're not doing. And sad to say that because we're women, we don't do that on a lot of counts. We don't do that to even see our good points and our good qualities. We're hard on ourselves, right? We're really critical of ourselves. I mean, even as much or more than we are of other people. I mean, how many times have we heard people say, you know, oh my gosh, I would never dream of talking to you the way I talk to myself. Like, we really beat ourselves up. We really don't have self-esteem. So we have to recognize the good, but we also have to see the bad, because if we don't see our shortfalls and we want to be a little better each day, how can we be better each day if we don't even know what to work on, right? So we've got to become more aware of some of these things. You know, and I know it affects me. I mean, God, we all do it. I do it too. I'm pretty self-aware. I know most of my shortcomings, but guaranteed I do it. I do it too. And I'm sure, and this is going to make me dig a little deeper, but we all do it. We all do it for sure. And it really made me think the other day about, I don't know, a couple of years ago, a lot of us were reading a book called, what's it called? 15 Levels of Conscious Leadership. I forget exactly. That's close enough. But one of the 15 commitments to conscious leadership, one of the commitments was about going below the line and not going below the line. Well, it's so funny because we were all striving to learn from that and to be better people. But it's funny how so many of us kind of took that verbiage and used it in a negative way, where so often we'd be like, okay, you know, I just have to go below the line here for a minute because we really needed to bitch about somebody. And it's like, you know, we're learning, but how much are we learning? So, you know, it just made me realize, oh my God, the very thing we're trying to learn and be better at, we're turning around and that's who we are anyway. It's just crazy stuff. So first off, the first thing, if you're going to hold up that mirror, if you're going to just really try and be honest with yourself, first realize that there's good and bad in everybody. If you think you're perfect at anything in your life, if you think you've never made a mistake, if you think, you know, like, I do nothing wrong, and I'm not talking big picture, I'm talking even just in one area, because nobody's going to say I'm perfect, I do everything right. But if you say, you know, I've been the perfect parent, there's nothing I'd changed, I've been the perfect spouse, I've been the perfect daughter, I've been the perfect mother, whatever, that's not even possible. It's not even possible, because we've all done lots of things that we wish we had done differently. Okay, right or wrong. Hey, you know what? Don't ever look back and beat yourself up because it's past. All you can do is say, hey, you know I did the best I could with what I knew and whatever, but yeah, boy, could I have done things better. So realize there's good and bad in all of us, and we've got to focus on the good even more. And we'll get into why in just a minute. But yeah, you've got to be willing to see the bad. You've got to be willing to hold up the mirror and see the things that you need to improve on. Or what good is anything if you don't want to strive toward being a little bit better every day? So, and also based on the fact that we have absolutely no room to criticize anybody. I mean, yeah, we really have no room if we're criticizing people for the very things that we do. But bottom line, no, we don't have room to criticize anyone, and we need to just stop it. And I need to just stop it. We all need to just stop it as much as we can and minimize it as much as we can. Because first and foremost, you don't know what their life is. You don't know what they're dealing with. You don't know why they do what they do. You don't know why they say what they say. And when you get to the bottom line, really, if it's somebody you just like really can't handle because they're always negative, they're always bitching, and it drives you crazy. You know, this is aside from the fact that the things that drive you crazy might be your own issues. But apart from that, you know, hey, you just have to minimize your exposure to people like that, or just move away, move into a new direction. That's not good energy to have in your life ever. Now, if they taught you to look in the mirror and recognize those things in yourself, that's great, but they still might not want to be the kind of energy that you want in your life all the time. So that's something to think about. Now listen, seeing the bad, seeing the good is really important, because I think the biggest reason we criticize is because we don't have solid, healthy self-esteem, right? We all know that if you criticize someone, you're lifting yourself up a little bit, because if you're putting them down, you're putting yourself up and you're feeling a little better. And especially in this case, Even though you're not facing it and you're not realizing that the things I'm saying about them are my problems, somewhere deep in your subconscious, you know they're your problems. And focusing on them in somebody else is taking them off you, right? It's taking them away. You can reflect that or deflect it from yourself to someone else, and now they don't exist in you. So self-esteem is probably the biggest reason we do it. And it's probably at the root of this more than anything else. So instead, start to take some really intentional time, celebrate and focus on the strengths you do have. And if you have a hard time finding them, ask somebody you trust to help you. Say, look, I totally beat myself up. I just don't feel like I have any worth. Help me see my worth. Don't be afraid to ask someone that you trust to answer those questions for you. But you have to dig deep. You have to dig deep to do that. And then you have to dig really deep to see the reflection, to see what you're really reflecting when you look at someone's weaknesses. That goes really deep. You have to start to think and analyze, okay, what are the things that drive me the most crazy about people? If it's that I can't stand when people gossip, then take a really long, hard look at yourself and start to see okay, how much do I gossip? Do I gossip? Maybe that's my issue. And start to just dig into it. And don't dig into it by yourself. Dig into it with somebody you trust. Somebody you trust to tell you the truth, not to tell you what you want to hear. But dig into it till you can see that, because you might have no idea you're doing it. And hey, maybe you're defining it all different ways. Maybe gossip to you is just I'm saying something bad about her and I'm saying, oh, she looked really ugly yesterday. And why did she wear that ugly pink hat and that green lipstick? That's really stupid. But for me, a definition of gossip is just hey, if you're just talking about somebody else's business and there's no need, you need to talk about it. You just think you want to share it with everyone, good or bad. For me, that's gossip. It's look, your business is your business. And if you want to tell people, that's for you to tell people. But I don't need to be talking about it. And like I said, I don't need to be. That doesn't mean I'm perfect and I don't do it too, because I know I do. I know I slip up, and I know there are probably lots of times I don't know I slip up. So, be aware of that. Be aware to dig deep and say, okay, how do I define this? What is it that drives me crazy about them? And do I do this? You have to start digging deep. Think about the things. Maybe you don't like when people are being mean to each other. I mean, that's a huge heartache right now. I mean, none of us can look at the media or look at Facebook and not just feel so heavy and have our hearts feel so heavy and so pained because of the ugliness and the hate that we're seeing. But are we trying to be instruments of peace in the middle of all that? Or are we posting seemingly innocent things that are getting people all riled up and fighting again? I mean, just really think, am I an instrument of peace? Because if I'm not an instrument of peace, then I am being just as bad as the people that I say are being so hateful and so ugly, right? Good morning, Lori. So really think about that. What are the things that drive me the most nuts? And then where does that fit in my life? Where in my life do I really live that the way I should? Because maybe I just need to zip it. We need to zip it anyway. We need to be less critical anyway. But this is the way of getting to the root of things that you can improve on in yourself. So, bottom line, here's what's going on. Other people's faults remind you of your own. So you project your faults onto other people so you don't have to see them in yourself. You don't want to see the faults in yourself, so you deflect them, you project them onto other people, and then you don't even think about it. You don't even remember or realize they're your faults because you've taken them and put them somewhere else. So realize when you're doing that, there might be something way deeper going on, that it's this might be exactly who I am. And like I said, we all do it to a degree. It maybe a little, maybe a lot. I mean, there are people who do it so much and it's so blatant that everything that comes out of their mouth, you're I can't even believe they're saying that, because they're so bad about that. Audra, more harshly criticizing my kids, the habits that I need to work on myself. Yeah, I guess I secretly wish someone would have crushed that behavior when I was younger. Yeah, so true. So true. I see it so many places. The things people criticize that in some cases, like I said, it's so obvious. In other cases, it's not. So, okay. So to recap, so here are your action steps. Number one, don't think this doesn't apply to you, because it does. And you've just got to dig deep to find it. It might only apply to you a little bit. It may not be something you are really, really heavily guilty of, but on some level, it applies to you. And hey, this is just about digging and just trying to make ourselves better. So again, if you think you're perfect in any area of your life, that's a big flag. Absolutely, this applies to you. Spend more intentional time seeing the good in yourself, okay? There are so many things you're good at. And to say you're not, I don't know what your spiritual beliefs are, but to say you're not is a slap in God's face, because God doesn't create crap, right? And whether it's God or a little team of scientists or whatever, every single human being is unique and different. I know you know that, but my gosh, how hard is that to really comprehend? I mean, every snowflake is different. Like, come on. That is so ridiculously hard to comprehend with these little pea brains that we have. People, same thing. But I mean, people, it's a little easier than the snowflake deal. But oh my gosh, it's hard to believe, but you know it's true. You have a reason that you are alive today. You have something to bring this world that nobody else does. Hey, maybe you're real social and you have the gift of making people feel loved. Hey, there might be gazillions of people who have that gift, but nobody can make people feel it the way you can, because your personality is tied into that. There's so many things tied into that to make that gift in you unique. So find your gifts and start reflecting on them more, because if low self-esteem is at the root of our criticism anyway, then one of the ways to diminish it is to start recognizing the good things about yourself. So that's really important. Another thing, and this is kind of getting off course a little bit from the topic, but since we're talking about criticism, like, just don't criticize anybody about anything, period. And yeah, okay, I'm asking you all to be perfect, and you're not going to be perfect, and that's fine. But try to minimize it. Try to catch yourself and stop being critical. Now, I'm not talking constructive criticism like Audra, because you're a parent. You have to do that. That's your job. Or constructive criticism when someone's asked for it. But you know what? If they don't ask for it, just don't say anything. Just don't say anything. Instead of being critical, how about trying to find something nice to say to everyone you meet? Everyone. I don't care if it's the server in a restaurant or the lady at the drive-thru or the man who changed your tire. I don't care who it is. Try and find something kind to say to everyone. Not too long ago, we talked about the power of a compliment. This is the way you change the world, ladies. It starts little. It starts with you. But when you do something to make somebody feel a little better, when you say something complimentary to someone and you see a little bit more of a spring in their step and you just see a little bit bigger smile on their face, you know that they're going to pay it forward by maybe being a little more kind to the next person. And then they're going to pay it forward. And you know how that works. And before you know it, you've impacted so many people by one kind little statement. So let's criticize less and compliment more. It's a big deal. It's really a big deal. And it's the most important thing you can do is just be kind. Go be nice, as somebody local here coined. Go be nice. Just go be kind. And then finally, like I said, and you might need somebody to help you do this, but really analyze the things that drive you the most nuts and the things in other people that you criticize the most. The things you criticize the most, you really need to look at yourself and figure out, like, oh my gosh, is this person a mirror? Are these traits in this person a mirror for the things that I don't want to see? Well, look in that mirror, because it's the only way you're going to be able to be a better person. So, you know, you complain about somebody because they spend money all the time. Like, oh my God, she's always spending money and then she's always complaining she doesn't have any. And I don't know why she does that and yada, yada. And yet you don't look at the fact that, you know, maybe you might think you're fine because you're making all the minimum credit card payments every month, but you don't have two nickels to rub together and you don't know where your next, you know, mortgage payment's going to come from. You always make it, so you don't think it's a problem, but maybe it is a problem for you. So you're talking about it about someone else. Look at it deeper. Maybe it's your issue and you don't even realize it. So that's it. I hope this helps. And I'm going to do some digging. And like I said, bottom line, talk to somebody. If you're not sure, and if you know me real well, I want you to tell me this stuff. I don't ruffle at this stuff. Like, I want to know it. I might be surprised because we're probably all going to be surprised because obviously we're talking about issues that I say we're not even aware of. So there might be some surprise and maybe there's not, but I want to know if you know me and you want to give me constructive criticism, I bring it. I really want it. So anyway, that's it for that. But listen, I'm going to give you a little bit of a commercial for next week. Hey, Colleen, how are you? Listen, next week, a couple weeks ago, I was doing one of these lives and happened to mention networking. And a bunch of you were like, oh my God, I hate networking. And oh yeah. Well, I'm one of the guest speakers for our, we have a Day of Dots, it's called. Polka Dot Powerhouse is having a big one-day event this week. And I'm one of the guest speakers talking about networking. So I didn't want to talk about it here before I talk about it there, but that presentation is Friday. So I'm going to do the same presentation here next Tuesday. So it's going to be geared toward business. So if you have your own business and you want to learn a little bit more about networking, I'm just giving you a heads up that we'll be talking about that next week. And if you want to invite any other ladies in the group that you think could benefit from it, go ahead and invite them. That would be awesome. But just want to give you a heads up. That's going to be coming next week. So that's it, ladies. Have a great day. Have a great week. If you're living anywhere near me, get outside and enjoy this gorgeous weather today. All right. Talk to you next week. Bye.